Mrs. Pearcey at the mortuary was most material to progress being made in this case, so she was very distraught.
Yes, Inspector. Where did you go when you left the mortuary?
I went to the police station accompanied by Miss Clara Hogg, and there in my presence she identified a perambulator that had just been recovered as belonging to the deceased Phoebe Hogg, the same perambulator with which she set off with the day before.
I see.
It was discovered in St. John's Wood, just over a mile from where the deceased's body was found. It was saturated in blood, sir. The handle was broken and a nut missing. We ascertained that such a nut found near the deceased's body fitted exactly into place.
And I believe, Inspector, that the baby was found the following day.
Yeah, on a piece of waste ground off the Finchley Road, sir. There were no marks of violence, death by suffocation or exposure.
Yes, go on.
I then searched the deceased's husband, Frank Hogg, sir. There was something about his demeanour.
Something about his demeanour?
Well, he wouldn't look me straight in the eye, my lord. He was jumpy, just like the prisoner had been at the mortuary.
You searched him?
Yes, my lord. There was a latch key in his pocket, and as a result of information given to me about that key, I went to Priory Street, where I understood the prisoner was living.
Yeah.
My lord, did you see the prisoner?
Yes, sir. I said to her, I understand that this latch key, which we found in the possession of Mr. Frank Hogg... Understand this latch key, which we found in the possession of Mr. Frank Hogg, is a key to your rooms, and I would like to search them if I may. And, well, she said she didn't have any objections, sir.
None at all?
None at all, sir.
Go on, Inspector.
Well, it was like a slaughterhouse. I've never seen anything like it in the...
Just tell us what you saw, Inspector.
5 years I've been in the force. The state of the rooms, my lord, was consistent with a violent struggle having taken place. Lying beside the fender, I discovered a poker, which on examination revealed clots of blood and hair. In the kitchen drawer, I found a carving knife which bore traces of
Exhibits
blood.
1 and 2, please. Is that the knife and poker?
Yes, sir, those are the ones.
Go on.
In a bath in the washhouse, I found a rug and a set of curtains. The rug was saturated with paraffin, but traces of blood were clearly visible. In the dustbin, I found a button in
Yes, Exhibit 3, please. Is that the button, Inspector?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Go on.
Embossed with a classical figure playing a lyra. It corresponds with those on the jacket of the deceased, one of which was missing from the sleeve.
Inspector, where was the prisoner when you and your officers were searching her rooms?
Sitting at the piano in the parlour, sir. Whistling.
Whistling?
Yes, sir. She seemed to be miles away. I said to her, "What have you been doing to get this place in such a state?" And she made no reply. She just turned away from me and ran her hands up and down the keys of the piano and started playing Three Blind Mice. Yes, sir, the nursery tune. She chanted it over and over again as if she hadn't got a care in the world. Killing mice, killing mice, killing mice.
And then, Inspector?
I observed her hands as they ran up and down the keys of the piano, sir. The backs were severely scratched.
I see.
The prisoner accompanied me back to the police station. We searched her and found traces of blood on the clothes she was wearing. She said she suffered from a nosebleed recently.
Inspector, we know that it is not possible to distinguish with any accuracy between the blood of mammals. But in your opinion, was the amount of blood you found in the prisoner's rooms consistent with what she had said about it?
Killing mice, my lord? No, never.
Well, this nosebleed.
No, my lord, no.
Carry on.
Did you notice whether the prisoner was wearing a wedding ring?
2 wedding rings, sir.
2?
2 wedding rings on one finger, so one of brass and one of gold. The fingers of the deceased carried no wedding ring when we found only the mark of where one had been. This mark corresponded exactly to the second gold wedding ring on the prisoner's finger.
Thank you, Inspector.
Inspector, look at the prisoner, Mrs. Pearcey.
Sir?
Just look at her.
Sir?
The amount of force required to inflict such terrible injuries on the dead woman would have been enormous.
Sir.
In completely severing the vertebrae, for instance.
Sir.
Do you think it likely that a woman of Mrs. Pearcey's slight stature could have carried out such an act unassisted? Well? Inspector?
I frankly think not, sir.
Thank you. And this alleged perambulator expedition across London, wouldn't that have required enormous strength?
There is no evidence to connect anyone else with this crime, sir.
Enormous strength, Inspector.
Yes, sir.
The case for the prosecution assumes, does it not, that the deceased, a fully grown woman, would have fitted physically inside the perambulator and her body disguised. Her child, too.
Well, we made sure of that, sir.
Did you?
Yes, sir. I myself got into the perambulator. It proved quite possible to cover me up and wheel me about. And it would have been even simpler in the case of the deceased because her head, practically severed as it was, would have doubled right back.
Hildegard.